Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Sunday. So, how's everybody today? I am fine. Happy Mother's Day to you mothers out there, or your wives, or your sisters, or your mothers. Now, let's take a look. NBA. Pretty good day. Let's start there. We'll start in sports and move on. Also, I want to talk about the petrodollar. Uh, we had a question on it, so let me. I find it better to respond here than respond in a on an email. That way, everybody might have this question, can get it answered. All right, let's look at NBA yesterday. Cleveland minus 4.5 wins 116-109. Win by 7. It was tied with a couple minutes left, and then Cleveland took it, and I'm glad. Now we can bet Cleveland next game. And we had Oklahoma minus 8.5. They win 131-108. It was like tied at half, and then they just say, okay. And they're clearly the class of the league. They'll clearly win it all. It's a team we don't want to bet against. So now Detroit leads the series 2-1, in which Cleveland will tie it up. And Oklahoma leads the series 3-0, in which they're going to go 4-0. This is the one point where the backs against the wall has no bearing. When you have a team as good as Oklahoma, it's like Mahomes, Alabama when they're good, Notre Dame when they're good. You don't want to bet against them. You either bet on them or maybe you bet a total. So they win by 23, which is basically tied at half. So we hit both games, 4 units, Cleveland and Oklahoma. Cleveland had to win. They were down 2-0. Oklahoma didn't have to win, but they want to get in and out of these series. They just are just too good. And so we nail both of those games. Happy times. Let's look at today. We got 2 games today. We got the Knicks at Philly. Sixers have no answer for Jalen Brunson and Knicks ice sweep. And in this case, the Knicks are 1.5, 214. And the way they're playing, I don't think Philly has a chance. I'd have thought game 2, Philly would have played well. The last game, Philly was do or die, and Philly's dead. So we're going to go. It's 5-10. Jesus Christ, it's 5-10 already. We're going to go Knicks. We're going to go minus 1.5, and we'll go 2 units. Philly could win. It's game 4 at home. They have to win, but I think the Knicks are looking really strong. They're the real 1 seed. Boston was not a 2 seed. Detroit never was a 1 seed. Orlando with Hans Gruber was probably a 3 or 4 seed. But then without them, they're not. So we will go from there and just say, okay. So let's take the Knicks. I mean, we'll bet them hard in game 5 if they lose, but I don't know. Philly played well against Boston, but as we see, Boston's just a 3-point shooting team, and they never win. If you're just shooting 3-point shots, okay, work with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Okay, and that's fine. That's it. It doesn't mean every team can do it. It's only if you have a shooter like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson who can make shots all over the place, but that's it. And no team has that but Golden State. And where have they been lately? Nowhere. The next game. This is on ABC at 3:30, and on NBC at 7:30. We got San Antonio at Minnesota. San Antonio leads 2-1. They're laying 4.5, 218. I guess Anthony Davis will be playing. Can he replicate his game 3 success? They lost in game 3. What's he talking about? So I think he just pissed off San Antonio by Minnesota winning the first game. Yes, Minnesota. I don't. This is like I just said against Oklahoma. I don't want to get a bet against San Antonio, or we take the total. Let's see what the total is. Let's go back to Friday. And what was the score? 115, 108, a 223. Should be similar. And what's this total? 218. Do we really want to go over in this? I guess we could. Or take San Antonio, lay the 4.5. Minnesota, this is do or die for Minnesota. They go out 3-1, go to San Antonio, it's all over. So they have to win this game, which is the only, because they won game 1. See, in the other series, the Lakers are down 3-0. They didn't win anything. They haven't come close. In this series, we have the we have Minnesota who did win one game, and then San Antonio blew them out the next 2. And I don't want to bet against them. So then do I bet the total? But I don't know what I get with these totals. There's no rhyme or reason to the totals. The Pistons will score 90 to 80, and then the next game they get 225. And you're like, really? So I don't know. I mean, this really should be a Minnesota play, being at home, backs against the wall. Are they good enough to win this game? I think they'll come out strong in the first quarter, then they'll fade. And I think it's like Oklahoma yesterday, where the Lakers kind of got out and had a good first half, and then Oklahoma said, yeah, okay, we'll see you later. And I think with Winnebago, it's just too much. It's a hard bet, because theoretically I want to bet San Antonio, but I know that Minnesota, as a home dog in a do-or-die game, is probably going to play them very well. I'm not seeing a lot of close games. It seems like they win by 20, or the upset. That was the close game when they upset them. I don't know. I'm gonna take a pass on it. I'm gonna circle here San Antonio. Well, I don't even like Minnesota. Well, I'm gonna circle San Antonio minus 4.5. But I'm not betting it. I'm just only gonna bet the Knicks. And even that game, I pause, because again, it's elimination, and you just worry about it. All right, we've got baseball. Average day. Both our streaks ended yesterday. We had the Cubs ending their streak, and Cincinnati ending their streak, unfortunately. But that's what happens in streaks, and that's the only time we have a bad day. So we start off, Toronto wins 14-1. We don't have that. Oakland 6, Baltimore 2. We have Baltimore over 9.5, and they play an 8. And it's surprising, because both pitchers had high ERA, so that's a little surprising. 6-6, and this is the problem. Like, you're at 6-2, and then there's a 10-8 game, and you don't, it's the pitcher. But these pitchers were lousy yesterday, so very strange. The Reds beat Houston 3-1. We lose with Houston because Cincinnati breaks the streak. However, we did bet Houston under 8.5, and so we kind of break even on it. We lose Houston, but we win the under, and it was just two good pitchers. Normally, I wouldn't have bet Houston, except for the streak. I would have bet the under, but that's the thing with the streaks. They all end, and we hope we make enough money on them. Miami 8, Washington 7. We have Miami minus 152. That's a winner. The Phillies and the Rockies 9-3. We have Philly over 8.5. I thought that was a very low number considering the way the pitchers were, and Philly got them 9-3. That's a winner. Minnesota 2, Cleveland 1. I have no bet on it. I did say I like Cleveland over 8, but I didn't bet it. That was a loser, but there was no bet, and that's why we didn't bet it. Texas 6, Cubs 0. Cubs 10-game winning streak ends. So we lose with the Cubs, which happens. Again, all the streaks are going to end. So we made from game 4 to game 9. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We won 6 and we lost 1. And that's how you play it. So yes, we lost, we lost yesterday, but we won the others. And that's the idea of the streaks. You're going to lose one bet when the streak ends. Now you get away from the streak. Now we just bet the Cubs as the Cubs. But we know that's going to happen. So that's why you're making money on each as we're winning. And, you got the one loser. And that's the idea of the streak. So we won 5 games and lost 1 on the streak. And that's how you have to look at it. Chicago 6, Seattle 1. I had Seattle over 9.5, and they held the Mariners to 1 run. Hard to believe. The Royals 5, the Tigers 1. I played Kansas City. Bobby Witt hit an inside the park home run. Carpenter hurt on misplay. What I'm finding about the Tigers as I'm listening is they have the worst defense in the league, but then they don't hit. So here Bobby Witt hits it inside the park because Carpenter misplayed it and he gets hurt on it. I've never seen so many pussies in baseball and basketball in my life. All these basketball players sitting out the playoff games because they are supposedly injured. And baseball, these guys, getting hurt, it's a joke. So KC wins 5-1, a W. Now Detroit's on a losing streak. We're going to bet KC tonight. Padres 4, Cardinals 2. We don't have this one. So we have the Milwaukee 4, the Yankees 3. We actually played the Yankees under 7.5 and won. I wasn't sure what I played in it, and it actually went 10 innings, but Milwaukee wins 4-3 with the girls' softball rules of a man on second, but the Yankees minus 7.5 gets the W. Arizona 2, the Mets 1. We have the Mets under 9, 2 units. That wins 2-1. 2 good pitchers, I believe. Pittsburgh 13, the Giants 3. I didn't play this one. I'm a little surprised because Pittsburgh I know can hit, but they've been scoring and hitting. And we got the winner. All right, we had LA over 8.5, and this is a late game, and Atlanta wins 7-2. It's a W. Teaser King. So how do we do? We lose 5 units on the Cubs. We lose 2 on Houston, win 2 on Houston on the under. So we're still -5. Baltimore over, we're -7. Miami, we're -5. Philly was a 3 unit. We're -2. We lose 2 on Seattle. We're -4. We win 2 on KC. We're -2. We win the Yankees. We're even. We win the Mets. We are +2. And then we break even on St. Louis and the Dodgers. So we end up +2. It would have been more, but we lost the 5-unit play on the Cubbies on their 10-game winning streak. We hit the 3 unit on Philly. And everything else was 2 units. So Boston got rained out, and that was it. So even with all the picks, we really did better than +2 units, except for the Cubbies. The Cubs was actually 2 games, right? We lost 5 units on that. So overall, we still have positive units, which is what makes time travel possible, as we know. All right, let's look at today. And for the day, we got to go to covers because we need to see the lines. This is how time flies. I was just waiting to move. It was April. Then it was May 1st. Now it's May 10th. It's Mother's Day. Soon it'll be Father's Day in June. All right. Yeah, time is a very funny thing. Sounds like the Twilight Zone. Let me look at streaks before I do this. I know one streak. Detroit is on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, and there's no school to save them. They might lose 15, 20 games in a row. All right, let's see. Anything meaningful? Baltimore on a 3 game losing streak, but we're not there yet. Here we go. Detroit on the 5 game losing streak. And that Detroit's going to have a terrible year. They won't go 500. You guys who like to bet totals, they probably won't win 70 games. All right, National League streaks. Everything's a 1. Everything. There's a 3 gamer for Milwaukee, which we're going to ignore. So everybody's on 1. All the streaks are broke. So the only one is Detroit, bet against. And so we're going to take KC in that game, and depending on the pitching. And Detroit has none. Casey Mize out. Verlander out. Framber Valdez is suspended. And Skubal, who should never have played, how are you going to trade him now? You took the risk of playing him, was ridiculous. All right, we had Miami yesterday. They won. We got Washington, Miami today. Miami again, 126, 8.5. Cavalli with the 4.24. Alcantara. How can Alcantara? He just pitched a day or two ago. This is really weird. So I don't buy this 4.24. How can I know he just pitched the other day? I'm seeing that a lot where I see a pitcher pitch and then okay. So sometime, it got postponed. It was raining. Okay. But in this case, Alcantara pitched, I thought a game or two ago. So anyway, that's what we got. So they're both 4.24s. I'm not sure that this is an over game anyway. I'm going to let it go because I don't trust that Alcantara's pitching. Tampa Bay and Boston, that's your 12-15 game anyway. We're at 11-20. Tampa Bay, Boston, we got Martinez for Tampa. Oh, yeah, okay. This I know I've seen, and this is because it did get postponed. Why don't I have a line on this? I'm going to use yesterday's line was 8. I'm going to go under 8. Boston under 8. We'll go 2 units, just like we did yesterday. Let's check the other Yahoo and see if we get a line there. Nope, they're not giving us a line there. It's crazy. Okay. So we're going to use yesterday's line under 8. And Martinez a 1.71, Tolley with the 2.12. So this is a good one to bet under. Boston doesn't hit much anymore anyway. Oakland goes to Baltimore. Yesterday we had Baltimore over 9. They got 8, I believe. We got Oakland minus 105 and 10, which seems like a big number here. Servino with the 4.19 for Oakland and Bassett with the 5.91 for Baltimore. Is Bassett there? I thought he was a pretty good pitcher. He's 37. His game logs, 2 inning. Then he had a 4 inning, a 5, a 5, a 6, a 4. He's not going very far in games. And he's giving up in one shutout, and then he gives up 4 runs, 5 runs, 4 runs, 6 runs. So, yeah, I can see why it's 10. Oh, he was at Toronto the last 3 years, a 3.60 ERA, a 4.16, a 3.96. So he's about a 4, and now he's a 5.91. What did it say? Yeah, it says 5.91. So this is accurate. So I can see why they're looking at a 10 total, but I don't know that these teams hit well enough to get a 10. And it's in Baltimore, not in Oakland. And you never know with these pitchers. They can turn around, and this is the problem with baseball is average. So he's got a 5 ERA, and the next thing you know, he throws a shutout. And I don't know how Oakland's going to hit him. And with Sorvino for Oakland, a 4.19. I got to leave this game alone. I got 2 bad pitchers, but I don't know. I got good hitting. Colorado at Philly. We got, Jesus Christ, Philly 287 and 8.5. Shugano a 3.41, which is not a bad ERA, and Sanchez a 2.44. So I don't buy 287. Colorado is not that bad of a team. Hard to go over here with a 3.41 and a 2.44 ERA. You're probably going to get a lower scoring game. I'm going to take a pass here. I am not taking Sanchez against Sugano at 287. That's ridiculous. So I don't like this line at all. We'll take a pass. California 105 at 8 at Toronto. We got Soriano with this is their ace, 176 against Miles. Who's Miles for Toronto with the 0? Born in 2000, so the guy's 25, and he looks like he's a reliever. Yeah, he's a 1-inning guy. All right, so we're going to jump all over Soriano. We got California minus only 105. This is great. We're going to go 3 units on this. We got Miles in the bullpen, and what are we going to have? 9 pitchers for Toronto? Everybody gets an inning, but you're not hitting Soriano. I would go under if I had a real pitcher for Toronto, which I don't. If Scherzer was going, maybe. And you got to bet California here. You know Toronto's going to score 1 run. The question is, what do they do? Are they going to get to 8? I don't know. They could win 4-1 very easily. So I think it's California, and that's why it's 3 units. And I'm only laying 105 with the best pitcher in the league, Soriano. He's up there with Ranger, Suarez, Fried, Scanes. Cleveland. Minnesota's at Cleveland, and Cleveland over 8 didn't get there, so it was a low-scoring game. Cleveland minus 156, 7.5. We got Morris against Gus Williams with the 3.31 for Cleveland. Morris, who is a reliever. Okay. So Morris's ERA, well, it ain't 0. What the fuck? Why do they call it 0? There's no way he's got a 0 ERA. He gave up a run here. He gave up 2 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 1 run. What the fuck are they talking about? So he gives up 1 run, and he gives up 3, then he gives up 2, then he gives up 2, then he gives up 1, and you want to call him a 0 ERA. Oh, my God. Williams, 3.31. We didn't get over. Again, this is a reliever, so it's all guesswork. You're going to get 5 or 6 relievers. I love when they bring in the starter in the second inning. Like, that makes a big difference. Although there is a method to the madness. Since it's all bullshit analytics, what I do see happening is, like the Tigers, they'll start like a left-hander, Carpenter, and so they'll bring in a lefty reliever for the first inning, or let's say they have a righty. Let's say they want to go to, they're going to go to a righty, but they'll start a lefty. No, um, they'll start the righty to get Carpenter in, and then they bring in the lefty to pitch the next 3 or 4 innings, and they pull Carpenter for the lefty. That's how stupid the managers are now. So Williams 3.31 against the bullpen guy. 7.5 is low. They didn't score a lot yesterday. Cleveland, you just don't know what you're getting in the bullpen. I think Cleveland is a good play here, but I'm not touching it. I don't know how to bet the bullpen day, guys, right? Houston at Cincinnati. Okay, we're betting against Detroit. Cincinnati won. They broke the streak. It was low scoring yesterday, but you had 2 good pitchers. Cincinnati minus 111.9. We got Tang with the 6 ERA for Houston against Abbott with the 6 ERA for that. So we're going to go over. We're going to take Planet Houston over 9, and we'll just go 2 units. Again, this is a bad pitching day. These aren't relievers. They didn't hit yesterday, but there was 2 aces on the mound or very strong pitchers. So looking at the ERAs, and we only need 9, so we're going to go over. Seattle goes to the White Sox. Disappointing yesterday. It was an under game, which we didn't bet. We have Seattle's at Chicago White Sox. Seattle minus 129.8. We got Logan Gilbert with the 4.30 for Seattle, and Dean Martin going for the White Sox with the 1.64. I'm going to take Dean Martin. I think Sammy Davis Jr. is going to play catcher. Plus 119. And I'll go 2 units. Chicago has been hitting, and Seattle, the catcher came back, whatever his name is, but I like Dean Martin at a 164, and I know I keep teasing it, so I know he's a starter and he pitches well. And Gilbert with the 4.30, so I'm shocked that Seattle's favored in Chicago, and I got a 164 pitcher on the mound. I'll take that all day. That's where Vegas fucks up with analytics. The Yankees go to Milwaukee, and the Yankees minus 114.8 in Milwaukee. Rondon's pitching, and I don't think he's pitched this year. Goes against Larry Henderson with the 4.50 for Milwaukee. What do we do with Rondon? Let's see his past. So this is his first game. So last year he had a 3.09 ERA, 24, 3.96, 23, a 6.85. So he's all over the place. 4s, 5s, 8s. 237 on the White Sox and 21, a 288 for the 49ers. And then he goes to the Yankees the last 2 years, 309, 336. So let's call him about a 3.5 ERA. Going against Larry Henderson with the 4.50. The total is 8. So we're going to go over here. Yesterday we won with the Yankees under 7.5, but I think he had good pitching. And we're going to go the NYY. We're going to go over 8. We'll go 2 units today. Again, we're betting the pitchers. Rondon, it's his first start. Even if he does anything, he's 4 innings, 5 innings, 50 pitches. We don't want to get him hurt. For as pussy as this league is about pitch count and getting the pitchers hurt, there's sure a lot of pitchers that get hurt on a pitch count. Maybe it isn't the pitch count. Maybe you should try to make the pitchers throw 100 miles an hour, though they're capable of throwing 90. And you think if they throw harder, they'll get more strikeouts instead, but they keep getting injured. So what's the point? Again, baseball just blindly follows analytics like the NFL on 4th and 1s, and it's just retarded. Not very good. All right. So that's the Yankees Milwaukee. So we're going to go over 8. The Cubbies in Texas. The Cubbies 10-game win streak. Twice we've had the Cubs on 10-game win streaks. And it's going to end. We got interesting. The Cubs at Texas. Texas is a 119 favorite. Over under of 8. We got talent for the Cubs, 428 against DeGrom, 316. We're not fucking with DeGrom. This is the only way is on the streak, what I bet. The Cubs here, they're not on a streak, so this is where you lay away from it. You go, no, I'm not betting against DeGrom. 316, talent 428. I ain't going over in a DeGrom game, so it's under or nothing, and it's going to be nothing. I'm just going to pass. Probably an under. Let's write under. Let's write Texas under 8, but I'm not. There's no bet. No feel. Pittsburgh, the Steelers against the Niners, the classic 1970, 1980s football game. The Niners minus 111 and 8. We got Bob Chandler for Pittsburgh 476 against Molly for the Niners with the 5. This is an easy one. And this is going to be our lock of the day. Pitt over 8. We're going to go 4 units on our lock. Pittsburgh's hitting. They scored a lot yesterday. The Niners, I don't know. Probably a Pitt bet, but I like the total better. Like I said, Pitt has like 6 300 hitters or 280 hitters and above. They'll score. They scored a lot yesterday. So I'm going Pitt. I'm going the Steelers. I think Franco has a big game. Swan, stalwart. We're going Pitt. We're going over. Atlanta goes to the Dodgers. We had this game over, and it won it in the 9th inning. It's I think it was 7-0, and I needed a 2-run 9th to get to 9, and it was late, so I just thought, well, maybe I lost it, and then I just checked now, and they had scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th to get the cover. Thank God there's shitty relievers in baseball. Atlanta at the Dodgers. We got the Dodgers 127 and 9. We got Elder with a 2.02 ERA. Good pitcher against Roblisky with a 0.56. This guy's got to be a bullpen guy. No, he's actually a starter, but his ERA is not that. He gave up 3 runs in 4 innings, and then a run the next game in 5. Then he pitched an 8-hit shutout. Then he pitched a 7-hit 8-hitter with 1 run, and then he shut out the last 2 on 4 innings, 6 innings. So this guy's real, but his ERA is much higher than 0.7. You can't give up 3 runs and have a 0.79 ERA. What joke is that? Let's say it's about a 2, and Elders is a 2. So we're going under here. We're going to go, we'll go LA under 9. We'll go 2 units. But here's where you got a 2.0 pitcher and a let's say a 1.5 pitcher. The Mets go to Arizona. Arizona minus 107, 8.5. Brazoban, who the fuck for the Mets, and E. Rodriguez 254 for Arizona. Who's Brazoban? Is he like a name for the devil? I know, one of those trick names. And he's a bullpen guy, Brazoban. Yeah, a bunch of 1 innings. So you're gonna get an inning from Brazoban, and then who's coming out, and then Rodriguez with the 254. Let's see who this guy is. Eduardo Rodriguez. Was this the guy in the Tigers? Yeah, he pitched on the Tigers. He had a 5.02 last year, 5.04. So he's an average pitcher. I'm not going to trust him with the 254. And Brazoban, he's probably the real devil. So I'm going to lay you away from this game. Total 8.5. Again, you don't know what you're getting out of the bullpen with the Mets. We don't even know if they can hit. They got Lindor and they got Bo Bichette, and that's it. In Arizona, I don't know. So I'm going to say bye-bye to that one. St. Louis goes to San Diego. San Diego minus 127 and 8. We got Lehigh for St. Louis with the 5.03 against Ferris Bueller with the 5.70. This is an over. It's probably a St. Louis play also, but we're going to play it over 8, and we're going to go 2 units on this. Tempted to go 3 with that San Diego bullpen, but let's just go 2. This should be our easiest bet of the day. This game over 8. And Detroit KC, it's an automatic KC. Detroit on a 5-game losing streak. Hanafy's a reliever, goes against Cameron with the 5.52. KC minus 121, 8.5. So we're just going to go KC minus 121. We'll just go 2 units. We don't love Cameron with the 5.52 ERA, but Detroit can hit. And Hanafy's the bullpen guy, so he's going to pitch his inning, and then all the shitty bullpen guys of the Tigers will come out. They're all getting hurt. I love it. I love baseball because they're so fucking stupid. Let's do every 5th day. Everybody throw 100 miles an hour, and then we're going to be surprised that they get hurt. Going, well, we do a pitch count, and we pitch them every 5 days, so we don't know why they get hurt because you got them throwing 100 miles an hour, of which their bodies can only throw 90. What are you doing? It's about changing speed and location. It's not about, can I throw 100 miles an hour? Now, you watch this guy from Milwaukee. He threw 104 the other day. I give him a month, and he'll be injured on Tommy John surgery and all that shit. Throwing 104. Was he a robot? I watched the Twilight Zone episode of that one. They had a robot come on the mound. This is back, the early 60s. And he comes out, and he's a robot, and he throws like 100 miles an hour in the 60s, and he strikes everybody out. But then they wouldn't let him play because he wasn't human, and he needed to be human. So he was missing a heart, so the doctor puts a heart in him, and then he won't strike anybody out because he doesn't want to hurt the guys. Typical Twilight Zone. And an interesting one yesterday, which I thought was really stupid. The guy makes a bet. So they're at a club, and this guy's talking. He's a talker. Yap, yap, yap. And so the guy gets pissed off, and the other guy says, I'll pay you. Let's have $1 million bet. You don't talk for a year. And so the guy makes the bet because he needs the money. He wants to get married. Da, 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 da. And the guy, but he doesn't say, let me see the money. And he doesn't say, why don't we hold it in escrow in a bank? And if I win, I'll go get it. And if I lose, well, I won't talk for a year. And so the guy wins the bet, and the guy doesn't pay him because he doesn't have the money. And you're like, so he doesn't talk for a year, and he wins the bet, but he doesn't make sure the guy has the $1 million. And then the Twilight Zone part of it is he cuts off his vocal cords because he says, I know I couldn't go a year without talking, so I cut him out because I really needed the $1 million. And then the guy welches on him. And I'm looking at him, are you an idiot? You don't ask to see the money and put it in an account? Let Luca Brasi hold the money. Then at least I know I'll get paid. Unbelievable. So, it was Twilight Zone clever. The guy cuts his vocal cords, but on the other hand, how do you not make sure the guy has $1 million before you cut the vocal cords off? No, it was no big deal. He could write. He just couldn't talk. But anyway, that's Twilight Zone for you. All right, so baseball, let's recap. We're playing Kansas City. Detroit's on a 5-game losing streak, 2 units. I don't like the pitching. Boston under 8, 2 units. California minus 105. They're ace on the mound, 3 units. Houston over 9, 2 units. The White Sox plus 119, 2 units. We got the Yankees over 8, 2 units. Texas under 8, no bet, but we like DeGrom. Pittsburgh over 8, that's our lock of the day, 4 units. The Lakers, the Dodgers under 9, 2 units. And the Cardinals over 8, 2 units. So you got one lock, Pittsburgh over 8. You got California at bad odds, good odds for us. Their ace is on the mound. This guy will win the Cy Young, and great pitcher, and you're only laying 105. Thank you. And then Boston under 8, 2 units. So that's what we have. And at KC, obviously, is the only streak. Detroit, terrible on the road. They can't steal signs. And they got a bunch of minor league players who hit for a little bit, like a Twilight Zone episode, and now they can't hit. They keep getting they keep giving up a lot of runs. They keep making a lot of errors. Their pitching is shot, and they can't hit. They can't field. They make a lot of errors. The Tigers every game. Oh, there's an error here and an error there. Like, what's with all the errors? Well, the manager, I don't think he's any good at all. The only reason he won at Houston again is because they stole signs, and he had Altuve and Bregman and those guys that an idiot could coach. Here he comes in. He's always pinch hitting a 300 hitter with a guy hitting 056 because it's lefty righty. Okay. And then he stays with this Spencer Torkelson guy who's a minor leaguer hitting about 210. He's up there to look for walks. Most of these guys are up there looking for walks. Dingler, the catcher, looks for walks. They all want 10, 12 pitch at bats. They can't hit, so they got to walk to get on. They're pathetic. I mean, this is a minor league team. They got lucky again. Last year they were hot the first half and then didn't show up the second half. And I think you're seeing that's the real team as you see this year. But again, it's the analytics, which is basically killing the game with, just very poor, let's pitch the pitcher every fifth day and 80 pitches and don't go through the lineup the 3 times. But what they're failing to see, again, is who you bring in. If you're pitch hitting a guy who hits 300 for a guy who hits 100 because he's lefty righty, the guy ain't going to get hit anyway. He's hitting 100. He doesn't hit. These guys hitting in the 180s and the 200s should not be in major leagues. Oh, but they're all a bunch of minor leaguers. I would say 10% of the league is major league and 90% is minor league. And you can go through the teams. There's 5, 6 hitters hitting under 210. What the fuck are they doing in baseball? I'm sorry. I don't see it. Like, why are they in baseball? Anyway, so that's what it's doing. Look at basketball. They're all taking 3-point shots. Yeah, they make 10% of them. Oh, the one game they get hot is the game they win. But then, like Detroit yesterday, they got hot in game 2 at home. The role players play better, and that's the only reason they won. And then they go to Cleveland, and of course, they shoot 4 for 20, 3-point shot. What's that? 20%, maybe 15%, and then they lose. You got to get the ball inside where it's easier to get the basket. You got a higher percentage. A dunk's pretty much 100%. Layups probably 99% versus 10%, 15% for 3-point shots. Well, if we make a bunch, but you're not going to make, especially in the playoffs. The pressure's on. They're going to play better defense. What the fuck are you doing? So it ends up where it's killing the game because Steph Curry, who was an unusual, very good 3-point shooter, won with it. And everybody go, let's do what he did. Yeah, but you can't. Nobody has looked at it since where they've said that. And they're putting too much premium on 3-point shooting, not on defense, not on getting the ball in the paint and getting fouled. That seemed to work well for Magic Johnson and the Lakers and Larry Bird. Somehow that worked. So it's just stupidity. But that's what it is. It gets people into trusting things that aren't real, right? Nobody understands inflation. They think it's prices going up. They're wrong. It's money printing. It's the money being printed to nothing. The Romans, Spanish, the French, the English, it's just the same thing. As soon as you get off the gold standard, that's how you get to be a power. As soon as you get off of it, you print the money, you have a war. As you're going broke, you have a war, and the U.S. is in 2 or 3 wars at the same time now. We're at war with Ukraine, with Russia. We're at war with Israel and Iran. There really are wars. We have no army, so we're paying people to fight for us. And that's the problem. And it's because we're broke. And nobody can think fifth dimensionally like me, that I realize that the reason of the war is we're broke. Our dollar's worthless. That's why we're at war. We're trying to steal oil like Hitler stole gold, and it's not going to work. But the point is, people blindly believe that, debasement is inflation. How are you taking gold and silver out of the dollar? That's a new one. This looks pretty much like, where's my dollar? Where's my precious? This looks pretty much like there's no gold or silver in it. So how the fuck are you debasing it? But people say debasement, so people think that you debase a dollar. How can you possibly debase it? What do you can't take gold and silver out of it. This is inflated. This is inflation. What did they call the Titanic when the water came in? Well, did they not say it's sinking? Did they not say because the water is coming in? It just leads you to curiosity. What the fuck they're talking about? So this is the problem. People will say, oh, pitch the guys 100 miles an hour and give them 5 days rest. And don't let them go through the lineup 3 times, because statistically it doesn't work. We know statistics don't work. We look at earned run average. The guy's got a 2 ERA and he gives up 7 runs, or the guy's got a 7 ERA and he shuts you out. It's not consistent. And that's the big problem. And then you have this here. And then you have basketball. Well, they should take a 3-point shot because it's worth more than a 2-point shot. And look, they average 30%, not against the good teams, not in the playoffs. Again, it's just an average. So there's some teams that might have a good shooter and some teams might not have good defense, and you're blending it in the whole thing, like the 4th downs. You're not looking at 4th down against the Eagles or Kansas City or Denver or some of these better teams that have the good D. Baltimore. You don't go on 4th down against them, but they're blending in the Redskins and the Lions and all these shit teams with the shit defenses. And that's the problem. And so everybody just blindly accepts it. Look at AI. AI will never work. AI is not a predictor. It's just, it takes data and it summarizes it. So it looks for different data, it summarizes it, and that's the whole point of it. Does it work? Absolutely not. It's not a real functioning thing. So with that said, you have it, but it's not real good. So that's the problem with it. AI will never work. AI can never do my job. It can't do any like analytical thinking. All it can do is say 2 + 2 is 4, or it can look at the baseball stats and kind of look at that and see, well, this team scores more than that, or here are the averages of these players, or the points scored or the runs scored. It's all it can do is it takes averages, but everybody wants to run into AI with the thought of, we'll let all our employees go. So the key is they want to save money by having AI and no employees. But the question they're not asking is, will it work? Can AI replace humans? And the answer is no fucking way. But because they say it, they think that it can do it. And this is the problem. People are just taking things at face value, and they're not really questioning, does it work? And that's where we've gotten away from critical thinking, except for here, and we've gotten into this remote, just accept things. If they say AI is good, then you don't question it. And that's what we become, because that's how they teach the kids in elementary school and junior high and high school, not to think, just to accept. And when you come here, we critically think. That's one of our strong suits. That's why we are so good picking games and playing poker and friends and women and stuff like that. You critically think it. I was with Alyssa last night, and she said something that I didn't like, but I was stoic about it. She made a comment about being rude to her or something. And I wasn't rude to her. I just questioned her. Like, I'll say, "What are you doing?" Now she interprets that as rude, and I'm like, "Well, what are you? You're in the bathroom a half hour. What are you doing in there?" "Oh, I'm doing nothing." Well, don't tell me you're doing nothing. What do you? It doesn't take a half hour to go to the bathroom, which I doubt you're even using the toilet in there. And so being analytical or being stoic and being a critical thinker, I told her, "You ever say that again, you'll never see me again." I just laid it on the line. I don't need to be around a person who calls me rude when I don't yell and I wasn't rude. And what the fuck are you talking about? And she was all hyper. She had that incident and problems with this. I don't want to get too much into it, with family problems. And, she went on and on and on and on and kept repeating. And I said, "Enough already. Stop it. I don't care. You can get it out, but you got to problem solve it. You're not problem solving it." And the problem she won't face. And I'm like, "I don't want to spend time with you hearing this bullshit. Shut the fuck up." I didn't yell at her. I didn't say that, but I was basically saying, "Okay, you spoke your piece, move on, go to your happy place, Happy Gilmore." But you can't keep saying it over and over and over and over. And so I guess I'm rude for that. And I'm like, but then that's it. You know, you ever say that to me again, you won't see me anymore. I don't need you. I don't need, a lot of people, because I see they're all users. And the best part is we went and she says, "Oh, I'll pay for gas," because I had to pick her up Thursday, and then Friday night I had to pick her up and then drive her home Saturday, and she forgot her purse. We had to go and come back. It's a lot of gas. So she says, "I'll pay for gas." Okay. And she only wants to put $20 in the tank. It's $5 a gallon. That's 4 gallons. You're not going to fill my tank up. "Well, I'm not going to fill it up. That's all it should take, $20." I go, "Gas is $5 a gallon now. It's not $2 a gallon." Or yes, $20 would pretty much fill it up. Now it's a $50 fill up. And if you're going to pay for gas and I'm not your little chauffeur and you want me to just drive you around, then, okay, I appreciate you paying for gas. That's very nice of you. Which you should, because why don't you get your license and get a car and drive yourself like the rest of America does, right? So she just expects me to drive a half hour to pick her up Friday night and then drive her around, and 20 minutes here. So basically, I was a little bit pissed about that too. Look, if you say you're going to pay for gas, fill the car up because you emptied it. Because if I didn't go and pick her up and take her here and drive her around and take her home and come back, I'd still have a full tank of gas. So you don't say that and then not mean it, right? Don't say I'll pay for the gas and then think $20 is paying for the gas when it's $5 a gallon. See that? So I don't put up with that shit. Don't offer to pay for the gas then, and I won't drive you because I'm not your fucking driver. So that's where you're being used, and people think that, I can. And this is why the problem with most people, they just use you. And I think that's life. I think most people see who they can, a nice person. Oh, he's weak. We can use him. I'm not weak and you can't use me. I do it because I'll help you, but that's it. So again, that was a lot of bullshit yesterday. So I'm pretty upset right now um, with that situation. It's like, whoa, no, no, no. So when you need a ride, guess what? Go buy a fucking car, go buy insurance, go buy gas for the car, because I'm not your little chauffeur, and I won't be one. So anyway, so God, my angel keeps dropping. It's so sad. So anyway, that's the problem with analytics, and that's the problem with AI. It will never work. I don't like algorithms because like gold drops and it keeps dropping because the algorithm gets in, but that's not market. They keep taking things away from the free market. Gold should be much higher as silver. I had a talk we went to barbecue last night with the owner. I said, we're looking at 7,000 gold and 700 silver. It's manipulated. We know, but it's going to end soon. BRICS will want it much higher. And I don't know why the U.S. keeps fighting to keep the gold price low. It doesn't really make any sense. All right. Well, I guess they want us in stocks. I love how the stock market's like nothing. The stock market's at 49,000, like nothing's wrong. Oh no, we're fine. We're in a depression now. What do you mean everything's fine? Our money is worthless. Oh no, the money's worth a ton. I mean, yeah, this is how much the money's worth, right? A penny. So I did that analysis for everybody yesterday. So if you have 100,000 in the bank, it's worth $1,000. If you make 100,000, it's worth $1,000. That's all it's worth. That's the value of the dollar, and that's the point of it. There's the face value, $100,000, and then there's the value of it, 1,000. And where do I get it? Because we've lost 99% of its value. So it's 0.01 times 100,000 gives you $1,000. And I'm not sure it's worth that. And that's the big hook. People working $70,000, $80,000 a year jobs, you're not making any. You're making $700, $800. That's the value of your money. Yes, you're making 70 grand, and in proportion to what it can buy you here, you go to the grocery store. I saw one lady, I was coming out of the meat grocery store, and she had a full cart. And I says, well, it cost you $1,000. And she said, no, it cost me $400. I was proud I kept it under $400 for one cart of groceries, $400. That's because the value of your dollar is worthless, not because the prices of the grocery ran up. So people don't understand inflation. It's not prices. They don't get it. It's not prices. It's all money printing. It's the value of the dollar dropping. And that's why you need the wheelbarrow in Germany and in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, because it was not worth anything. When you start seeing a $10,000 US bill, don't walk, run to the nearest country with sound money, and that's going to be a BRICS country: China, Russia, India. It'll be funny. All the Indians who are here will be going back home, I would imagine, because their dollar will be backed by gold. So I don't know where to go. Maybe Russia. I don't know how strong that is. But anyway, that's the point. So you got to be very careful there. I was watching this movie. It was called Birthday Girl, one of these Tubi movies. And it's this girl is a Russian girl, and the guy's in England. And the guy's like online. This is 10 years ago. Nicole Kidman was young. And so I thought about myself, right? And everybody, you met her online. Da, 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 yeah. And so she comes, and her boyfriend, her husband, follows her there after a few months and extorts the guy and threatens to kill her. And then he gives him money. And then they show pictures where they did this in other countries. So this is like a scam where she goes on a dating site and the guy, the guy's lonely or divorced or the wife got killed or whatever. And so he's just looking to hook up, and he attracted to Russian women. They're very pretty. And so, he has to give up the money. And I immediately said, oh, this is what Daria's doing to me. The boyfriend will come and try to kill me for the money and all this. But then at the end, there was a twist. She turns and she actually likes the guy, and and they end up together. And I said, now that's what's going to happen with me, is we'll end up together, and we'll see. So it's kind of like, I'm seeing what's happening, but the difference is they're not traveling to the U.S. now. They can't. You'll be lucky if you can get on a plane. There's no jet fuel. A lot of planes are canceled. So, yeah, that's not happening. So this was years ago when you could actually fly from London to Moscow. But it's kind of apropos. Anyway, so our friend Paul asked me, what is the petrodollar? And so let's answer that for the class. The petrodollar was 1971 or 72 by Kissinger. That I think in the Middle East, everybody sends their oil to Saudi Arabia and they sell it. So it's a cartel. But I don't think a lot of the countries sell it on their own. But maybe I'm wrong there. But the idea was that anybody who wanted to buy oil from Saudi Arabia used US dollars. So you couldn't use British pounds. You couldn't use Swiss francs. You couldn't use China, Japan, Russia. You couldn't pay with it. You had to get US dollars. So you would exchange your dollar for US dollars and buy the oil, and caused massive inflation because we had to print all this money so these other countries could get it. But on the turnaround, Saudi Arabia has all this US money they got for selling the oil. So they had to return the dollars to us because they can't use US dollars in Saudi Arabia. So they're going to buy dollars to buy the oil, and then Saudi gets the dollars, and then we'll return it to us. I don't know if they bought treasuries or what. Maybe they did. The U.S. made money on the conversions. So when China bought dollars to buy the oil, there was a charge on it, right? The FX charge. And then when Saudi Arabia then had all this US dollars that are worthless, they bought, I guess, treasuries with it, which is what China does. When we buy all the China goods, they are supposed to buy treasuries with it because they got money in US dollars that's worthless to them. So China now has taken the dollars and sold them and bought gold with it. That's one problem. But the petrodollar meant everybody had to have the dollar. Now, that did not make the dollar strong, and it didn't do anything but print a lot of money, which made it worthless. So we've had inflation booming since 1972 or 73, whenever we started this petrodollar. But the real point is you had to use dollars to buy oil from Saudi Arabia, period. Not from Russia and not from other countries, but from Saudi Arabia. Well, that's since ended, as Saudi Arabia now accepts yuan or any dollars to pay for oil or gold. The Saudis do not want to buy our treasuries because they know they're worthless. So they almost don't want the dollar. So the petrodollar is ended because now Saudi Arabia will take dollars from anybody. And therefore ending this, you got to buy it in dollars. And that's when the dollar was strong, right after the gold standard. Why we got rid of the gold standard is so they could create wars and inflation and print. And basically the banks could be corrupt. The JP Morgans could print, they could print $1 trillion. It's nice. I got the printing press, I'll print, and I have all this money. But if you have the gold standard, I can't. With the gold standard, you can only print, let's say, $1 trillion. So you can't do a Ponzi scheme. You can't just print a bunch of money. And then the negative without the gold standard is you cause massive inflation because you print the money to zero, which is what you've done now, which is what every country did. Every country started with the gold standard. France, Spanish, Amsterdam, and of course Rome, and they went to zero. Now Zimbabwe did not start with the gold standard. They went out. Germany, I don't believe had the gold standard either. They just went out. They had gold in Germany, but when they had to pay off World War I, they printed and printed and printed, and you see what happened. You needed a wheelbarrow. But it's only in that currency. So here we'll need a wheelbarrow for US dollars, but if we have gold or silver, 1 ounce in the pocket, and it's worth 2 in the bush. So basically the petrodollars ended because Saudi Arabia will take anybody's dollar to pay for the oil, preferably something in gold, like the yuan. They can take the yuan for the oil and exchange it 1 for gold. So as I showed you, they are now on the gold standard in BRICS. So their money will stay and our money will be worthless, especially when you go to a BRICS country to try to do it. We're sitting there trying to go to war with all the BRICS people. First Venezuela, Iran, BRICS, Russia, BRICS. They want to invade Taiwan, China, BRICS. Meanwhile, the dollar is worthless. We are broke. Oh, but they'll buy our weapons. Are we the only ones that sell weapons? China and Russia seem to have no problem making their own weapons, as Iran is getting them from China and Russia. So why is everybody running to the defense contractors to buy weapons like that's going to save us? The CIA is delusional. They think if people come and buy our weapons, that'll put people to work and that'll help inflation and they'll make money and they can pay down the debt. They're out of their fucking minds. None of what that I just said is real. Buying weapons will not help the economy. It will not help the inflation. It will not pay down the debt because it's a small portion of the economy, these weapons, but yet it's the big factor. So keep in mind, the petrodollar is gone. It's been gone for like a year or so since Saudi Arabia started taking yuan. So it's not a monopoly that they had to take dollars. That's gone. And I doubt Saudi Arabia is buying treasuries as everybody's dumping them because they all know the dollar's worthless. So I don't know what Saudi's doing with their dollars, but it ain't buying treasuries. And I'm sure they're buying gold with them. And oil's the big thing. So what's this war about? I'm not sure. It's about the U.S. trying to steal oil, right? In its simplest form, the U.S. is trying to steal oil from Iran to get out of our debt. The problem is we have a $40 trillion debt now. We're trying to get out of it because we're bankrupt. But we can still print fake money, which is what we're doing. We have a very small military. We don't have a lot of weapons anymore. If we do, they're like in Japan or like in Hong Kong or these countries that are friendly to us. Canada, maybe, London, France, where we've stored our weapons. So we've kept them over there for their protection, and now we're stealing them from them, going, okay, give us our weapons back. And they have no chance of winning in Iran. It's the size of Europe, and it's 30 million people or 80 million people. You're not destroying them. They all live in caves, and they have all these underground things, like living in the subway, like in London in World War II. So you're not really going to attack them, and they keep bombing the shit. They're getting help from China and Russia because they are a BRICS country. So instead of just joining BRICS, which would be the intelligent thing to do, we don't want to give up that we're the number one, and we're Alabama. Well, if you've seen Alabama lately, they're not number one anymore. They're not in the top 25, and that's what the U.S. is. It changes. Now the new team's Indiana, and the new countries are BRICS. And they're holding the gold and silver price down because they have all the gold. So there's two reasons. One, BRICS has all the gold. They don't want the price to go up. Two, if the U.S. wants to buy gold, they want to buy it at a cheaper price. Those are the only two things I can think of if we think, why are they holding the price? Why is JP Morgan continuing to short gold and hold the price down? It makes no sense. So that's the petrodollar. Our friend keeps saying about don't believe things and that. And if you know me, you know I don't believe anything. I have to analyze it and prove it to me. Even when I look at the pictures, the guy's got a 0.59 ERA, and I look, no, it's like a 2.0. No, I'm critical thinker, which means I have to think about things and do they make sense? And if they don't make sense, then I don't buy them. So I don't believe. I would think he would understand that about me by now. Everything's backwards and everything's, left is right. And I'm like, yeah, I get all that. You don't get that I get it, I guess, but I get it. So I get these emails from them, and some of them I get, some of them I don't get, but it's fine. You can just ask a basic question. And he gives me quotes and that. I don't need that. I'm not going to pay attention to it. Anyway, so he asked about the petrodollar. We always ask, why isn't gold and silver going up, which I just kind of explained. These wars are about selling weapons. That's all it is. They're killing all these people and nobody cares. I think Trump's lost his mind. I think he's very delusional. I don't think he knows what he's talking about at all. He's listening. He has a bunch of yes men. So if somebody disagrees with him, if I was Trump's aide and I said, what the fuck are you doing? Why isn't gold going? Why are you shorting it? He'd fire me, right? You're fired, but I'm right, right? Why don't we just buy the gold and let the price run up? We can buy it at this 5,000 level and watch it go to 50,000. And then we can switch money to gold back instead of this monopoly money that's worthless. And this is the hardest thing to convince people, that the dollar is worthless. This is the hardest thing. And it's just that's what it is. It's not worth anything. But the best way I explain it is the Titanic. It's the water's coming in the boat. It's going to sink, and you could visualize it, but you can't really see the dollar. I mean, this is the best I can visualize. This is what it's worth, and you can't really. But I can go to Kroger's and I can go to barbecue and I can pay, and I go. I understand that, but the money you're making. This is the Ponzi scheme of the stock market. So you're in the stock market and you buy Amazon at 100 and it goes to 200. You think you made money. Well, did you sell it? No. It's in dollars, so it's not worth anything. So again, you made dollars. All right, you made some money. Let's say you made $50,000, but these are dollars. They're not worth anything. So even if you make 50,000, the only person that's making any money in the stock market is somebody who sells it and buys gold and silver. If you're not taking your profit and selling it, you're losing money because it's not worth anything. They keep printing the shit out of the money. And that's the big mistake. They're printing the money. It's worthless. And that's the same thing with Bitcoin. It's in dollars. It's not worth anything. So as the Bitcoin goes up, you're in dollars. If you don't sell and take your profit and buy gold and silver with it, you're not making any money. You're making, okay, I made 10 grand. It went from 65 to 75. I had one Bitcoin. So now it's worth 75. Well, it's only good if you sell it. And then you take the money and buy gold with it. If you don't do that, it's worthless. It's not worth anything. Well, it's worth $75,000. What's the dollar worth? Well, let's see, 0.01. So $75,000 is worth $750. That's the value of it. So when you're looking at value, it's what is it worth? That's what we're looking at. It doesn't have a value. It's not worth anything. It can't buy anything. And that's the point of the dollar having no value, no backing. So the immediate question, like I said, when I asked about Bitcoin is what's its value? Well, what's it backed by? And they said nothing. And once I heard that, I'm not interested. Because even if it goes up, it's all Ponzi scheme and it goes up, but it's not real. And then let me see one. Why is it a coin? It's not a Bitcoin. It's a bit. There's no coin in it at all. There's no gold or silver in it. There's no even whatever a quarter is made out of now or a dime. There is no value to it. So you immediately want to take your profit and buy gold and silver. It's wonderful if you bought it at $50, which everybody tells me they bought it at $50, and now it's 60,000, 70,000. So everybody made all this money, but you didn't make anything. If you don't sell it and you just keep it, you're not making anything. So Sailor, well, it'll go to 1 million. Okay, even if it does, you're not making any money because the million isn't worth anything. The dollar isn't worth anything. Well, it's the reserve currency. No, it isn't. Gold's the reserve currency. BRICS is the reserve currency. And what does the reserve currency even mean? Well, it's what people go to for safe haven, but it's not worth anything. It has no value. You printed it to death. So what the fuck you talking about? If you printed it to death, it doesn't have a value, even if it is the reserve currency. The Roman, that used to be the reserve currency. How did that end up? How about the Spanish? They had gold as the reserve. How did France do it? How did Germany do it? How did Venezuela? They weren't the reserve. Well, France was in the 1790s, and England was in the 1914, and Spain was, and Rome, of course, was. So how did that end up? Well, worthless, unless you had gold and silver. Those are the only people that make money, and that's the surprising part is we don't go on a gold standard. We keep printing these dollars with a little president with a little number on it, thinking they're good. Oh, wait, let's look at a euro. Oh, it's a €5 because it's got some Greek thing and it says 5 on it. So we think it's money. It's worth $5. This is money, but it's worthless. They printed this to death. So just because it's a piece of paper that's 5, it doesn't have a value because it's not gold and silver. And again, the more you print of this, the less it's worth. And that's really what happened. But nobody sees that or understands it. They just see a $20 bill. Alyssa with the gas. Well, I gave you $20 for the gas. That's nothing. It's $5 a gallon. The $20 isn't worth anything. Moral of the story is don't offer to pay for my gas if you're not going to pay for it. You should be filling the car as much as I drive you. And somehow in your brain, you go, well, what did you do? You picked me up and you drove me home. No, I picked you up. I drove you somewhere. We went back because you forgot your purse. And then I went down. So there was like 4 or 5 trips. No way does 4 gallons cover that. That's insulting to me. And being an economist, especially, and then you're not filling the tank up is just really demeaning to me. So let's do this. I'm not your ride anymore. Go find a guy who will drive you around and not charge you for gas, because I'm done playing that game. And then you insult me. You could have paid for the gas. The gas ended up being $50. So I ended up putting $30 in the tank myself. But that's it now. You've just insulted me. And you never, what's the word? You never kill the golden goose. Or there's another saying, but I can't think of it. Never bite the hand that feeds you. And she bit my hand. I'm done feeding her. And that means no more driving and none of that shit. So you're going to have to deal with your problems on your own, and good luck. And I'm done. I'm focusing on Daria, and who knows if she's real, but I'll move on. It's fine. I'm comfortable with myself, and I want the girlfriend, but I'll find one. I'm I'm not worried about that. If you're a nice person, you'll get. And I have gold and silver, so I'll always be popular. Um, anyway, so that's the key. So we're smart enough by being critical thinkers to go, if the dollar's collapsing, what do we do? And it's buy gold and silver. So that's the answer to the riddle of the problem solve is I got to get out of dollars. They're not worth anything. But I can still trade them for gold and silver. I can still get gold and silver with these dollars. And the price is now 4,700. So I got to pay 4,900 if I want an ounce. But I was smart enough to Rumpelstiltskin this starting in 2020, 2021. This was 1995 to get into gold at cheap prices, knowing they were going to go up. I know it's going to be 10,000, 20,000 for an ounce of gold. It's not a guess. Same thing with silver. Silver hit 1,000. And again, it's just basically, why does my angel keep falling? And so you just you know what, like when I give you a football game, it's an educated guess, but I know what variables to look for, and I go 75% on them, right? In a teaser, of course. But I'm smart enough to know, but it's still a guess. It's like I think this will happen. Well, when I talk about gold and silver, it's not I think it will happen. It's I know it will happen. It's 100% going to happen. And that's the thing. And people don't want to hear it. They don't believe. Who am I? One guy questioned if I had a master's. Oh, you don't have a master's? I said, yeah. What are you talking about? It's from Walsh College, a big business school here in Detroit. Oh, you don't have a master's? And I'm like laughing at the guy. Yeah, I pretty much right there on the wall. Here, I'll show you. There it is. What the fuck? There it is. Walsh College, accounting and business. And I made the dean's list. That's why I got the coupon. So I have proof I actually do have a master's. It's in corporate finance, but I also took 5 economic classes, Austrian economic classes. So as far as I'm concerned, call it a minor, call it whatever you want. I am educated in Austrian economics, more so than anybody else, except for the teacher, of course, and the other kids in the class. But I've learned it down to a science, and I understand it. So again, the government is a bunch of Keynesians, and they want to keep printing money. Hey, let's have a $40 trillion debt. At what point do you realize that you're fucked? At 10 trillion, probably. So you have a $40 trillion debt now. You're going to have almost 2 trillion in interest once you raise interest rates because nobody wants your dollars. You don't have the petrodollar where the demand for the dollar is stronger. Now it's everybody's dumping them and they're buying gold with it. So not only are they dumping your dollar, they're buying gold and silver with it. And so that's what you're looking at. And it's just, that's where we're at. It's you're fucked basically, right? And that's where it's at. So we know what's going to happen. This isn't a guess. Yeah, JP Morgan, they're trying to short it, and the other bank, Bank of America and Chase, they're trying to short it to get the price down, but China keeps buying it because they're looking. The problem, the flying the ointment is the BRICS countries want gold. And so when you lower the price, they just buy it cheaper. They're the ones buying it cheaper, which almost makes you think China's the one running COMEX to get the price down so they can buy it, which wouldn't be a stretch. Why is JP Morgan shorting it? What is the advantage of keeping the price down when we don't have any? We have no gold in Fort Knox. Anybody stupid enough to believe that, you're going to get what you got. If there is gold in Fort Knox, and I'm not saying there is, it belongs to China. We have sold it to China, but they just left it in Fort Knox, figuring, well, it'll be safe there. But That's why countries are asking for their gold back, because they don't trust the U.S. The U.S. is so stupid they don't understand the value of gold and silver. So that's crazy. So anyway, inflation, printing the money is very high. Go to the grocery store. Now these gas prices have been falling. I filled up yesterday at 4.29, so that was a good price. That's why I filled up. I see it about four. It's down from, like, it got up to 509, but if you go in certain areas, it's like 475 here. But by Alyssa, it's down. Like I said, I got 425. Most of them were 459, 449s. So when I saw the 429, I jumped on it, and it was a BP station, and so that's what I got. And so it peaked at 5, and it's probably headed back towards 4. But that raises all the prices because they got to ship the goods to the store, and all the shipping is going to cost more because of the higher gas prices. So it's still higher. It was 270, 280, and now we're in the fours. But hopefully it'll calm down. They'll print money or options or whatever they do to keep the price down, like they're doing in gold and silver. A lot of it's like Mark McGuire saying, people, because of the higher oil prices, need to sell their items for dollars to buy oil, and they need more dollars because the dollar's worth less and the oil's more expensive. And the thing is, this cross that Mark McGuire talks about. So then, if you buy dollars, you're selling gold, which makes no sense. So the dollar is worth nothing, but compared to the other dollars, they need it to buy the oil. And so this is sounds like this war is about Russia. Russia's the one making money because they're selling a lot of oil now, because going through the Strait of Hormuz and everything else. So Russia's making money hand over fist due to this war. So that's why they're letting it go. It's always about making money. Every war is about money. That's it. Nothing else. It's not religious. It's not this. It's not that. It's about fucking money. Hitler was about gold and silver. This is about oil because we have no money. We are broke. So keep the fundamentals. We're broke. We need to steal oil, but nobody's letting us. Russia and China are not letting us steal oil. And Venezuela oil is so fucked up, you can't use it anyway. So the U.S. is done. And don't forget that. So buy as much gold. If you can still buy gold and silver with this monopoly money, this is worth, this dollar's worth 1 cent. If you can still buy gold and silver with it, go buy gold and silver with it. But don't kid yourself. You're making 100 grand at your job, you're making $1,000. You got 100 grand in the bank, it's worth $1,000. Well, Howard, it says 100,000. Okay, go to Europe and try to spend the money and see how little you get with the US dollar. And that's the problem with it. It's not worth, it doesn't have a value. And again, a value like this is worth $5, but the value of this is probably 5 cents. So there's a difference between what it's worth as a $5 euro versus the value of it, what you can buy with it. The value is what you can buy with it. And it's at about 5 cents. Go to the grocery store. I mean, just go buy a Coke. It's $3. So the value of your dollar slipped where it used to cost you 10 cents for a Coke. Now, they didn't have 2 liters back in the 70s, but if you bought a bottle, it was 10 cents. Now it's $2.50 in the freezer, or you got to buy a 6-pack for $6 or $7. Who the fuck wants to buy a 6-pack or 8-pack of Coke? I mean, you just want a bottle to drink. You don't want 8 of them. So anyway, Alyssa did have a nasal infection, so I gave her the onion on her foot, and she was much better yesterday. So that works. Anyway, that's what's going on. So I wish the girls happy Mother's Day. They're all mothers. You'll find that in a girl. They want to be mothers. It's that motherly instinct, even though they are, how good of a mother they are, I don't know. It just shows you anybody can get married, anybody can have a kid. Doesn't mean they know what they're doing with it. Anyway, what else? Poker again. Poker. All right, let me show you this poker hand.
Show off your sweet side with your own fresh frozen custard creation at Culver's.
Look what I found at Costco. The X Water Motorized Turbo Stream. My kids had so...
So now this is a little long. No, I don't want to show you. I'm going to show you a different hand. Okay. Now we talk a lot about bluffs and everything. So this is a hand between Scott Seaver and somebody else who I don't know. And this is a bluff. And this is the worst way to play a hand. All right. So let's watch the hand and then I'm gonna break it apart.
No, I'm lying. Yeah.
I might get flagged. I'm not sure.
Ball Nui. 7-4 folded. Now to Scott Seaver, 29-year-old pro with one bracelet, King 10 of spades.
I love Scott, but he dresses every day like he's on summer vacation between 7th and 8th grade.
He's got $11 million in live earnings, raised to $1.2 million from Scott Seaver.
Rick Solomon dresses like he doesn't give a damn.
German pro, Christoph Vogelsang folds his button. Coleman in the small blind, Jack 9 of diamonds.
Start at 9.6.
Coleman looks more stylish in black than in white.
He folds his small blind to Tobias Reikemeyer with aces.
German-born, lives in London. His favorite city is Melbourne. And just before one drop, he visited San Diego and loved it. What's not to love?
Reikemeyer with the aces just calls. I guess he doesn't want to scare Seaver off.
Well, Seaver has a relatively short stack, so Tobias is going to slow play these aces.
All right, here's the flop. Heads up. 4 queen deuce. Reikemeyer's aces are not threatened.
These two have played a lot of super high rollers together.
Reikemeyer checks his aces. Seaver's king 10 must be playing in a different game because there's nothing there in this flop.
Seaver hopes a continuation bet ends matters. It will not.
You think this is a leak in a lot of pros, don't you? That continuation bet is
sure.
a continuation loss. $1.5 million from Seaver with the C bet, as they say.
And this is setting up perfectly for Reikemeyer. He's got Seaver right where he wants him, Lon.
Well, Reikemeyer slow played the aces pre-flop. What does he want to do here? Well, just a call.
Okay, let's pause this for a minute. So we've seen 2 mistakes already. Pre-flop, he should have bet the aces. Now the flop comes, and he's still not betting the aces. Now he's got Seaver betting, but do you really want aces to go all 5 cards? No, aces are not that strong as you think. They're strong pre-flop. They might be strong on the flop, but I've gotten my aces killed when a guy calls me with a pair of 7s and the 7 flops. And I bet, and he checks, and I bet, and he check raises me, and I fold. And every time I'm correct, he hit a set, and I'm dead. Because if they don't hit the set, they just call you. So it's all what they do if they check and call or check and raise. If you got the hand one, the guy checks to him. The guy, he checks to the guy, and the guy bets. The guy's got position. What does he have? You don't know. You're checking, he's betting, you're calling. You don't know what he has. What is your strategy in this hand? I'm slow playing. Is that the strategy? I'm going to slow play it, and I'm going to, and then what? I'm going to pounce. So by him not betting, he doesn't pick up any information. He has the best hand, but if you let all 5 cards out, you don't know if you have. I've seen a lot of people get 2 pairs, straights, flushes, full houses on the board. So you can't just sit there, I got aces, and let the hand go. You have to bet. You should have bet the flop and get Seaver out, or let Seaver call with the. All right, let's keep going.
Seaver's gone into DEFCON mode.
He does have that other side of him. Turn card now. Jack of clubs. Frankemeyer still best. Seaver now open-ended. And Tobias has to worry now about a 3rd club on board.
Will Rankemeyer continue to let Seaver stab at it?
Tobias checks again.
If I saw Scott sitting on a park bench like this, I'd figure his wife had left him, or his dog had been run over by a car, or he just ate some really bad bulgogi. We saw him continuation bet on the flop. Then when he keeps betting on the turn, I call that C-bet squared. It can win you a lot of pots, or it can get you in a lot of trouble. I never C-bet square.
From all in.
Wow, there's a playa.
How much is that?
All in for over $6.8 million.
Boy, Seaver dangling on a cliff. Rankemeyer has slow played his aces exquisitely. He's played like he's not strong. Now he's a bit unsure and in a dicey spot.
This is the problem with slow playing aces. 3 clubs on board, so you can't. He's got to bet if there's 2 clubs on the flop. He's got to bet it. Now he's got 3. He doesn't know where he's at. Now he made an all-in bet, like $1 million. Obvious bluff. If he hit the flush, he wouldn't have won all in, right? He's not worried about that. If he's on a straight draw or flush draw, I don't know if he goes all in or not. But again, what is Scott Seaver saying? I don't want you to. I want you to fold. I'm making this big bet because I want you to fold. You got a pair of aces. You have no idea where you are in the hand now. Straights and flushes can get you. You really, well, not the straight, but the flush could be there. I guess there's 3 clubs. What the fuck did you do? This is the problem. Had he made a bet now, and then Scott Seaver has to call him, he probably folds. You know he can't have the flush because he would not go all in, because if he had the flush, he'd want you to call. So this is a perfect point of the bluff. He wants to look strong, and he wants to get you to fold. That's the point of the bet. The guy's got aces and has no idea where he's at in the hand because he plays like an idiot by slow playing. Now, if you're going to slow play your aces to induce the bluff, you got to call it, because it's got to be a bluff, right? If he has the flush, he's checking, or look what he's doing with aces. He thinks he's got it. He is overvaluing, as we've heard all day about value. He's overvaluing the hand. He's getting bluffed, and he doesn't understand it's a bluff. The guy goes all in, obvious bluff, because he doesn't want to get called because he has no hand. So if you understood concepts as I'm teaching you, and you get this all in, what is going on? He's afraid he's going to lose this money, so he won't make the call. Instead of making the bet, he should have bet the flop. Especially if there was 2 clubs on the flop, you got to bet it. And now 3 clubs hit, and you're still checking. Then you get an all in, which would never happen if you had the flush. He never would go all in. And maybe if it's a small flush, maybe he had the 2-3 of clubs, and he wants to go all in, so the 4th club doesn't hit, and you're sitting with the ace of clubs, and now you got it. On one hand, the slow play would work if an ace hit the flop, or two aces. You know, if you got quads on the flop, then yes, of course, you don't want to reveal your hand. You play it slow, but obviously you're not going to have a problem calling it. In this case, and this is the problem with most poker players, they slow play, and then the guy makes the big bet, and then they fold, even though they have the best hand. They don't understand that the big bet is to get them out. That's why the big bet is there. And you've got to call this with aces 100% of the time. And let's see what happens. Well, we know he folds.
Scott Seaver applying maximum pressure, or the maximum pressure he has, to Rankemeyer, who has the bigger stack.
Scott, I was trapping. Trapping.
This is for 2/3 of his remaining chips. If Tobias calls here and loses this hand, he'd be down to 5 big blinds.
Am I allowed to tell my hand away? That's the best.
Everyone knows your hand anyways.
Really? What is my hand?
It was either king, queen, or ace queen. The only thing you would ever call.
You're wrong, man.
Oh, wow.
I'm better than them.
Ooh, that's a nice hand.
The best starting hand
Possible.
in poker.
Nice. With the club?
No, you don't.
With the club, I would have paid the bet already.
I understand. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
I know.
It's brutal, though.
I
right?
know, it is brutal.
So first rule is you never talk to the guy. If that was me out there, I'm not talking. Now, is the German talking to see if Scott Seaver's nervous, if he's bluffing? He doesn't need to. He went all in. It's a bluff. He's already told you, and this is what I mean by watching the bet. He's told you with the bet that he's bluffing. Because if he hit the flush, he would not have gone all in. He would have bet 20 or 30 grand because he wants you to call him. He doesn't want the call. He wants to get you out. That's why the big bet. The big bet is to get you to fold. Now, this guy's an idiot. There was 2 clubs. I looked, there was 2 clubs on the flop. You got to get you can't check that. So you're letting him catch the flush for free. Then the 3rd club comes. He doesn't have the flush. He has 1 club, but he's now there's 3 clubs out. He's just let him catch his flush for free, but he bet his flush. What is that? You know, so he's betting, but nothing makes sense on this. This is the turn. This isn't even the river. Nothing makes sense here. Why would the guy go all in with a flush? And he let out betting, so he probably has high cards or a pair. But you let him with 2 clubs. You got to bet your aces because aces aren't any good if all 5 cards are out most of the time. You're letting the guy catch the flush. You're letting it's ridiculous. So this is the problem. You've got to read the bet. Forget the talk. And you shouldn't be talk. I don't talk anyway because I don't know what I'm going to get. The guy's acting. I don't know what he's going to tell me the truth or not. So there's no fucking way I am talking to him. But there's no fucking way with 2 clubs on the board and I got aces in my checking. It's okay. It's okay to bet. If he wants to call now when the 3rd club comes out and he makes a bet, he's not going to go all in, but he's going to make a bet. And then you got to determine does he hit the flush or does he have 4 clubs. But he has to draw to it on the flop. And now on the turn, he's all in. Obviously, it's a bluff because he's all in.
And on 1 drop, too. Yeah.
I know, it's like not...
But you can't sweat it, These things just happen.
I could still throw my hand away. No.
I would look at you a little,
I know you
I would think less of you.
I know you would. I know.
To his credit, Scott seems very comfortable, just looks and sounds so casual and confident. I might think he's holding a monster.
I know, Scott, but honestly, I'd rather disappoint you and get away if you're ahead. And, Yeah, I know.
Okay. I think I should shut up now.
I mean, you don't have the ace queen.
He's right.
It's unlikely. I don't think you would jam the king queen there.
He's right again.
So you could have king 10 or 10 9, of course. With flop, but even against those hands, I wouldn't normally fold this. You know, they've got. But you don't put me on aces either.
Scott doesn't look as comfortable now.
Sorry, I'm just gonna. This is a really tough spot. And it's quite a big final table too.
Tobias Rankemeyer in the middle of a very difficult decision, trying to figure out if his pocket aces are good against Scott Seaver and his all-in. We, of course, know Scott does not have a made hand.
Clock.
All right, you see Daniel Negreanu calls the clock, as is his right.
Tobias has taken nearly 10 minutes with this decision.
Clock started at 9.
So now Tobias has 1 minute
You can answer that.
before his hand is dead.
My doctor doesn't examine me this thoroughly.
For all of Seaver's chips and almost all of Rankemeyer's chips.
Well, Tobias with the best hand, but if he's up against a flush, he's drawn dead. If he's up against a set, he's got 2 outs. If he's up against 2 pair, he's way behind.
Rankemeyer running out of time. And he folds.
There's no chance that's aces. That would be
Impossible.
no chance.
So,
How can you do that?
Rankemeyer is stunned.
I'll say, so what did he do? He started talking about the tournament and I want to get to the final table. And then why did you play your aces like an idiot? If you wanted that, on the flop, you bet your aces. You bet a strong bet because you want him to fold. If I have aces there, I'm betting pre-flop, I'm raising. And then I'm betting I'm betting flop. I'm banking a big bet, not all in. And I'm probably chasing him away. And that's what I want. I want to win the hand. I'm not in there. I don't need maximum because, again, he's a pussy. He's scared. Why is he looking at him? What kind of tell do you think he's going to give him? So not only that, but if you're worried about it, then why didn't you just why didn't you just bet the flop and bet pre-flop and bet the flop? That's why I always bet aces. The only time I've ever slow played aces pre-flop is when somebody raised it up with kings or queens. So let's say some lady had kings or queens. She made it like 40 and in my game, right? It's 1-2, no limit. And, you're there $300-400. So she makes it 40. I, of course, call, but I only call. And I get a couple people in because now they're priced in. And I get a third ace on the flop. She bets. I call. I check. Or I call. Some guy has 2 pair, goes all in, and I'm loving it because I got 3 aces. And I know I got to be in the lead. Even if he hit trips, I got aces. And it ended up where the kings fold. It comes to me. I call the all in. So I don't even make a bet, but it's over at the flop. And I don't need to make a bet because I've got set aces. It's so powerful. I'm not worried about 2 pair catching it. There was no straight or flush draw out there. And the guy has 2 pair and he knew he couldn't win because if he hits either of them, he had like 10-6 and a 10-6 on the flop. So if a 10 or a 6 comes on the turn or the river, I win with my full house aces full to his 10s or 6 fulls. So he comes over and shakes my hand. But that's the only time I've ever played where I had aces and I didn't make the bet because the bets were made for me. But here, what is he doing? If he's worried about this, that, and the other, and it's a big tournament and a final table, you take the hand down there and just bet your aces. And you're playing a guy, and the guy totally bluffed you, which you know he has to be bluffing you. Why else? So what did the announcer said? Well, he could have two pair, he could have a set, he could have a flush. In all occasions, he's not going to go all in. He might go all in with, he might be afraid of the flush. So I could see him going all in with a set, not with two pair, but I don't think it's an all. I think the two pair you maybe go all in because you're afraid of the flush, but that's it. But normally you're not. Jesus, normally you're not going like if you have a set, probably you're not. Although the three clubs, but that's why you bet the aces because of the three clubs. You at least bet to see what make him think. You don't want to be the guy thinking. So you fucked yourself because you were worried about going broke or losing most of your stack because of an all-in play. So you don't want to call it, it's all in. And that's what you're thinking about instead of just playing your aces, betting on the flops, seeing what he's doing, and then certainly betting the turn, your first to act. But if you're going to slow play as he did, and he goes all in to bluff you out, you got to call. I mean, then what's the point of the slow play? So somebody can go all in. I've seen this so many times where people have the aces or kings and they slow play it and the flop hits and they slow play it and then the turn hits and the guy makes a big bet and they fold. And it's like, what are you slow playing? If you're slow playing, it means you got a big hand and you don't have a big hand. It's only aces. With four cards out there and three clubs, you don't have a big hand anymore. That's why you must bet it pre-flop and you must bet it flop. And I don't care if I'm betting it all the time. Too bad. And I don't care if he bets his aces pre-flop. He's got aces. I don't care. So fold. I don't care. I'm not going to see. He was afraid of losing a lot of money, which is the point of the bluff, is to get you to fold by thinking I have a big hand when I have shit. So I think he had a club, but at that point, the wrong guy made the all in. It should have been the guy with aces should have went all in to protect his hand. He never protected his hand, right? If two clubs hit on the flop and I got aces, I'm betting. I don't want the third club to come out. And then if I'm scared of that and the third club comes out, now I'm totally fucked. But the way he played it, he did not protect his hand. That's the one thing Doyle Brunson did, was if he had aces and the flop came, he'd have went all in. He took the charge. He didn't sit there and slow play. And I don't understand the slow play with aces at all. It's maybe on the pre-flop, but if the flop hits two clubs or 5, 6, 7 or two down, two of a suit or a pair of queens, I'm fucked. I gotta make my bet and see where I'm at and I got to put pressure on him. I'm letting him put pressure on me. And that's the problem with it. So he doesn't understand what he's doing. He's playing with analytics. He's not playing poker. He's letting the number, I'll slow play it. No, that's not what you do. You do not slow play aces, especially with that flop and that turn. And then what do you do when the guy makes the big bet at you because you're slow playing? Did he know he was slow playing, making the big bet? I assume he thought he had nothing, which is this is the confusing part about poker. If the guy had a normal hand, he would have bet the turn, right? So if you're checking, you've got to wonder, well, wait a minute, this guy's in, I make a bet and he's calling. Well, wait a minute, why is he calling? And why is he checking but calling? He's got a good hand. That's how I would have played it if Scott Severs. I'd go, I made a bet, he called, and then he checked the flop and I bet and he called. What's he calling on? Then the turn comes and I put them all in because I want to get him out because I don't know why he keeps calling. Obviously, he's got a big hand if he keeps calling. But on the reverse, if you get that all in bet, you have to you have to realize it's a bluff. 90 times out of 91, 99 out of 100, because otherwise let's say he hit the flush or he had the set. Is he really going to go all in? So if he hits the flush, he has the king, queen or the king, 10 of clubs, and he hits the flush, is he going to go all in? Never. So if he hits the flush, he's not going all in. If he had a set, maybe he goes all in on the turn, but not on the flop, because now he wants to get you to fold so you can't catch the flush. Okay, that's different. But in this case, you can't check your aces and call the flop, the pre-flop, and the flop. You can't do that. But then you got to realize his bet is to get you to fold. And that's the point that they're not thinking critically. Why are you making this big bet? It's to get you to fold, obviously. You never want a big bet where you want the call. Now, sometimes had he had 2-4 of clubs and he hits the flop, well, first of all, he's not pre-flopping. He's not making a bet pre-flop with 2-4 of clubs. But there he doesn't want the fourth club to come out in case you have the ace and catch the flush. But you probably would have been betting if you had ace, king of clubs or something. Anyway, so that's your poker lesson, is that big bet 99 times out of 100 there is a bluff because he doesn't want to be called. So let's say he had ace, king of clubs and he had the flush. Would he go all in? No, probably not. He's probably wanting a call. He got what he wanted. He did not want a call, and that's what he got. He didn't get a call. And the reason he doesn't want a call, because he doesn't have a hand. So that's what you have to understand in that hand. The question of the all in is to not get the call because they don't have anything. If they have something, if he had flopped a set or he had the flush, he would not have gone all in. He would have made a big bet, but he would not have gone all. He wouldn't risk all his chips on that. If he had trips, he'd want you to call him. So again, this is just basic. This is basic life strategy. Why would you go all in if you had a hand? You would want to get called. That's the psychology part of it. Anyway, so I enjoy watching these bluffs. These people are so stupid. You wonder how they're doing that. Oh, then we get, okay, so I didn't watch this. I hate Jamie Dimon. He's a mafia. Warning signs, 4 warning signs gold is about to skyrocket. No, there's no warning signs. Gold should be skyrocketing. It's controlled by JP Morgan. So when it spikes, it spikes. At this point, I don't smell what the rock's cooking. This guy, I'm losing interest in it. I don't know what he is. I was watching a little bit of that. Inflation is a choice. No, printing money is inflation. You don't have a choice. When you talk about that, they are printing money because they have to. They got to pay the debt. They got to pay Social Security. They got to pay the government employees. They are printing money on purpose, so there is no choice. Inflation's never a choice. It's about stealing the money and then making it worth less. Otherwise, you'd be on the gold standard. There was one. So I think I showed you this one yesterday.
Airports are closing. Liverpool airport is closing. Spanish airports are closing. Planes are not flying. They haven't got any fuel. And oil is priced at around $90. But the real price is not in the $90. I've just heard a recent price in the Far East, $280. So the real price is a lot higher than the quoted price for the simple reason that there's no physical oil available for a lot of people around the world now. So prepared for shortages of fuel, and whatever Trump does or Iran does is not going to change it. The die is cast. So what will this mean? Will it mean obviously a lot higher oil prices and massive shortages?
Which is basically what you can say about the inflation and that. So it's the same thing as gold. There's shortages. It's a lot higher than the COMEX shows, and that's what's going to. The difference is with the oil. You had to do that because they still need oil for cars, right? Gas, and then for the airplanes. So you still need oil, right? So therefore they have to pay more because they need it. You don't really need gold and silver like you need oil, right? I don't put gold and silver into my car or fly with it. It's the dollar that you have to be in, but nobody realizes how badly you need to have it. And I'm going to leave you with I'm going to leave you with Mickey.
Between 1951 and 1968, my next guest played 2,401 games as a New York Yankee. He is the man who made the number 7 legendary, and this is his new autobiography, The Mick. My pleasure to welcome Mickey Mantle. Mickey, good to see you. Nice to see you. You look terrific. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good. This is like following Roger Maris that year. He hit 61 home runs following Tom Hanks.
Kind of excitement, huh?
It's a little tough.
Let me, the Yankees look like they're making a move here, huh?
They're making a good move. They're only 4 games out, got about 45 to play. They're in good shape.
Yeah.
Now, let me interrupt for one quick second. The crowd and the noise and the applause he got. This is why you buy Mickey Mantle cards. He is the most demanded player on a card there is. So if you go buy a Mantle card, you can see how popular and how much demanded, and people will buy it in a heartbeat. So with strong demand comes strong price, and the crowd and everything else, even Letterman's choked up. And this is the point of why you buy Mantle cards, because he's the number one. He's the best. He's the most popular. It's a Yankee, and that is how you have demand. And that's why you don't buy, Joe Smith baseball cards. There's no demand in it. You only get demand in a Mantle, and a Brady, and a Montana, and Will Chamberlain, and Jordan, and Bird and Magic, and guys like that. That is where, that's the players you buy, and that's why you buy those cards. So let's listen to Mickey.
If George Steinbrenner was the owner when you were playing, how would you have gotten along with him?
Well, I got along great with him. I get along good with him anyway, and he's not even paying me $1.5 million, $2 million a year. I get a kick out of the people say, could you have played for Steinbrenner? Of course I could have. I'd be making about $4 or $5 million, and I wouldn't really have to worry about those early morning workouts because I was usually just about coming home.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Just drop by the stadium, work out for a couple hours, and head home. What can you put it in perspective? The kind of salary you were getting versus the kind of salary that, say, Dave Winfield or Ricky Henderson is getting now?
I don't really know how much Ricky's getting. I know what's reported that Dave gets $1.5 million a year, and if he does, that's more than I made in 18 years with the Yankees. So.
Oh my gosh!
2,401 games, you said?
You mentioned Ricky Henderson, and he, I guess, was a game or so late coming off the strike. Remember that?
Not too long ago, yeah. Well, I don't think he was supposed to go home because they thought that they might end the strike, and he did go home. I don't think it was really his fault, probably though. He did hurt his shoulder, I think. So he didn't take a couple of days off. He was really hurt.
Now, did you ever miss a team bus, a team train, a team plane?
We missed a few. I had a couple of guys. I could probably be still playing right now if it hadn't been for Billy Martin and Whitey Ford. I ran into them.
Now, which one between the two of them? Which one was the real trouble? It had to have been Billy. He was trouble for you, right?
Billy was the first real roommate I had with the Yankees. My first 7 years, I came up in 1951, and he was my roommate through those first 7 years. And we got along really good. And Whitey kind of hung around with us too. We all kind of went to the same spots.
Who was the instigator of the three?
Well, we thought Billy was. That's they traded him in 1957 because they said he was a bad influence on me. We found out about 2 or 3 years later it wasn't Billy, it was Whitey.
Okay, so now you guys were playing was it a spring game in Cincinnati?
What we'd do, we'd leave spring training like in Fort Lauderdale or St. Pete, wherever was training that year. And we'd start back up the eastern seaboard in a train. We used to travel by train, and we'd go from one city to the next, like 10 different cities, all the way back to New York.
Playing games as you went?
Yeah, in each different city, and we lived on the train. So this one time, for some reason or other, we got out into Cincinnati, and we had to play the Reds. And the game was over about 6 or 7 o'clock, and we'd heard about this place across in Covington, Kentucky. And it was supposedly like a real nice nightclub and a good place to eat and everything. So we kind of easied over there, and we're supposed to be back on our train at 12 o'clock. Along about 11, we decided it'd be too late to try to make the train. What we do, we just go to the airport and catch a plane and fly over to Pittsburgh the next morning, and we'd be there and act like we was on the train. So anyway, we go to the airport about probably 1 or 2 o'clock, hang around the airport, laying around on the benches waiting for the first plane to Pittsburgh, and they closed the airport. There was a snowstorm came in. They closed the airport. We had to take a cab from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh.
And what does that run you? A cab ride from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh?
Oh, it was, I think, around $400. But the guy that was going to take us is one that was funny. I know you've probably done this, getting a cab, say Pittsburgh or something like that.
Yeah.
And the cab driver goes, "Oh, come on!" I hear that all the time. I say, "Hey, we're not kidding. We got to get it."
And it was Casey unhappy when you guys finally showed up?
Casey was out on the field. We didn't beat the team there, of course. And all Whitey had to do was change clothes and run out and do his laps. If you're not pitching that day, you don't have to do anything but run with the other pitchers. But Billy and I were really trying to get on our stuff real fast, and so we could make batting practice and infield if we could. And I was talking to Billy like this, putting my clothes on, and I'd turn around to say something to him. He's not sitting there. None of his clothes there. His baseball uniform's gone and everything. And I'm looking, I'm just about ready to say, "Where you at?" And something grabbed me in the back. And I look around, and Casey's shaking me. Yeah. He said, "I don't know where that other one is, but you're both going to play every inning today."
We got to do a commercial, and then we'll be right back here with Mickey Mantle. So you played the ball game, but you didn't have to play the full game like Casey said, right?
No, the first time I came up in that game, I hit a ball over the roof at the old Forbes Field.
Completely out of the stadium.
Yeah, there was only like 2 other balls ever hit out of there. Buttermilk Meeks hit one, and Babe Ruth hit one.
Buttermilk Meeks, Hall of Famer.
That's what they told me.
So
anyway,
Casey clear the stadium.
When I come in, everybody was bonding and everything. He pats me and he says, "Okay, you can take the rest of the day off going up." Made Billy play the whole game.
Played the whole game. Speaking of Billy playing games, this is a picture of you, Mickey, and I guess Billy, and just describe the action in this photo here.
Look at Billy's eyes.
See the bottle of 7-Up in front of Billy?
Uh-huh.
I guess that's 7-Up, huh?
Yeah, probably just 7-Up.
Anyway, we used to go deer hunting every year, and we bought those, Colt 45s, sent us those Colt 45s, and I caught him cheating at cards that night.
Those guns are fun at parties, aren't they? Now, is that thing loaded? Because I notice it's cocked. Is it?
I hope not. It might have been.
Might have been.
I got to tell you another story about that. Could really have been bad. One night, me and my wife came home with Merlin, and she was driving, and I was acting funny, and I had that gun, and I went and took it and clicked it at her head, and she goes, Merlin goes, don't do that. Said people gets killed every day with a loaded gun. I saw it's not loaded, and I shot it up in there, and it went off.
Oh yeah, that's a million laughs, Nick. Mickey. And here's one more. You guys, this is you and Billy, a night on the town, huh?
I wasn't even old enough to drink yet there.
Can you tilt down a little bit here, Hal? Let's take a look at Billy's right hand. It appears to be. Had he punched somebody before that? Probably punched your tailor is what happened. Mickey, great to see you.
That was the only sport coat I had.
Glad to have you back in baseball. We'll be right back, folks.
And that's why you buy Mickey Mantle cards. I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I found that and a couple others. He was at a roast. They did a Billy Martin roast, and he was there with Whitey and some comedians I've never heard of. But anyway, it's good to see him. But you can see the applause, and you can, even when they introduced them at this roast, everybody is like standing ovation, and just very godlike, a player like Mickey Mantle. And this is the problem with sports right now. You have Mickey Mantle, you watch the game. If the Yankees were on tonight and it was Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and everybody, I'd definitely watch the game, and I'd definitely shut the fuck up when Mickey's up. You want to see him bat. And that's the difference. There is nobody in baseball, basketball, and only like Mahomes and Burrow in football that you're going to watch, right? You're going to watch the Kansas City game. You're not watching Lamar. You're going to watch Joe Burrow. You watch Mickey Mantle. That's why baseball was popular. Him and Ruth and DiMaggio and those guys, Ted Williams, made the sport, Koufax, Gibson, and you go on, Nolan Ryan, you would watch those guys. Now, nobody was as big as Mickey, but that's the whole point. And that goes to how that is demand. That is what demand is, and why nobody wants to watch baseball now. There is nobody like that playing that you are like, oh my God, I got to see that, and you would see it. And that's what's hurting sports, basically. You got some guy from Japan or Latin America who can't even speak English. You're like, fuck these guys. Shote, I don't really like him. I think he should learn English if he's going to play here. But I'm not like gaga over him like some people are for some reason. But it's Mickey, the American. He talks, he's funny, and he hits a lot of home runs. And he's just like you. He's a guy you root for. And show me a basketball player. Okay, Wilt, you had Bird and Magic, maybe Jordan. I wasn't a Jordan fan because I was a Piston. I would watch if the Pistons were on. Like today, if it was a playoff game and it was Boston, LA, I'd be watching, or Boston and Detroit. Yeah, I'll go to the pool now. But you don't have that now. Detroit played Cleveland. Who gives a shit? Oh, Richie Cunningham. Who cares? He's nothing. And that's the problem. That's the problem with sports. You don't have Mickey. In golf, you had Palmer, and then you had Jack Nicklaus. I wasn't a big Tiger fan. Tiger's better than Nicklaus. No, Tiger's not better than Nicklaus. You got to be out of your mind. But that was the thing. You would watch Jack. If this was the final round of the Masters today, I'd be watching every shot and hoping Jack won. Scotty Scheffler? Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing. The Pistons have Richie Cunningham as opposed to Wilt or Kareem or Magic or Bird. Yeah, I don't think so. And football, okay, we had Joe Montana, we had Unitas, we had the Packers and Lombardi, and then you get into the Steelers. Okay, buddy, you got, and then you get the Niners and the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, and now you got nothing. You got Mahomes, and he's good, but he's the best because there's nobody else in the league. Lamar, nobody's watching. They're trying to make Lamar into that, but Lamar stinks. Lamar lets you down. He doesn't win the big games. He can't even throw the ball. He chokes too many games. He blows leads. 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, they lose the game because he fumbles and he throws incompletions, and he really doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And that's why Lamar doesn't work. Mahomes does, and that's why you need the pocket passer. That's why I'm like shaking my head with Dagiopava. And in baseball, there's nobody. There's nobody. Aaron Judge, he's no Mickey Mantle. He's a good player. Hits a lot of home runs. He ain't Mickey Mantle. He's not must see. Oh, Aaron Judge is on. Well, first of all, you can't even. Where are you going to watch a Yankee game? All right, Sunday night they play Boston. It'll be on. But I'm not sitting home and I'm not. Oh wait, Aaron Judge is on. I'm going to watch it. Not like Mickey. And that's what's needed. Bobby Orr was Mickey. Bobby Orr had that charisma and he could skate around. He was very exciting and we liked the excitement. And that's why I would watch Bobby Orr. He's my favorite hockey player, not Gretzky. Gretzky was a wimp. Mario Lemieux was good. I don't watch, who's this guy? Norm Crosby. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him play. Ovechkin, he's a Russian. Can he speak English? Yzerman, he's okay, but you don't have a Bobby Orr. You don't have a Mickey Mantle. You don't have a Roberto Clemente. You don't have a Koufax. You don't have anything. This league in baseball is a bunch of 200 hitters trying to get a walk. Now, what did I say? Well, we watched Bobby Orr because he was exciting. We watched Mickey Mantle to see if he'd hit a home run, not to see him have a 10-pitch at bat and walk. That's not, you want to see the excitement, the adventure. Basketball, they're just standing around shooting 3-point shots. Probably not too exciting to see a guy take a jump shot. You want to see a slam dunk. You want to see a pretty pass like Magic and Bird would do. That's exciting. That's why you're watching sports for the excitement. You're not watching sports for this bullshit so they can shoot 3-pointers. So all this analytics is killing sports, A, because it doesn't work, and B, you're taking all the excitement out of it. Baseball, I want 12 pitch at bats and I'm going to hit a bunch of foul balls and walk. That's not exciting. You're killing your own sport with the stupid analytics that doesn't work anyway. So the Tigers, they get 10 walks and they don't score because nobody drives in runs. So anyway, that is Mickey. That is why we buy Mickey Mantle cards, because even then he hadn't played on David Letterman. It was probably 1990. He's been retired for 20 years, and he still gets a standing ovation, and everybody still loves him to the point. I doubt you saw David Letterman stand up and give applause to any other guest. I doubt it, unless it was like Will Chamberlain or something. And that's the point. You need the superstars, and they got to be identifiable. They got to be American, not Japanese, and not guys who can't speak English. People are going to say, you can't speak English. And that's, I'm getting tired of these commercials where they're talking Spanish. The last I checked, we're in America, not Spain. Why are you having Spanish commercials? I think that's stupid. But that's what you're looking at. So you're really looking at, but when you find the Mantle, that's, you buy the rookie card. That's the demand. That will give you demand. So can you imagine a Mickey Mantle card that was one of my 25 counts or the one of one? Could you imagine if that was Mantle? I think it would be worth $100 million, a one-on-one. Everybody would want the card. So that's really the key to it. You're really looking at what's going on with that. So anyway, that's the point. That's what marketing is. That's what you're trying to do, is to get everybody to want to buy it. You try to build demand. And that's the key to business, and that's the key to value. So that's why we buy gold. Gold is Mickey Mantle. It's very, very limited, and everybody wants it. The only difference is you got the JP Morgans pushing the price down for no reason. All right, with that, I will leave you. Again, we're taking the Knicks minus 1.5 for 2 units to win the series. It's a bad matchup for Philly. If they couldn't win game 3, they're not going to win game 4. And then San Antonio minus 4.5, but I'm not really betting it. Maybe 1 unit. I'll decide. But again, they're playing the Lakers, I think. Or is Oklahoma playing the Lakers? I don't know. San Antonio is playing Minnesota. So again, they're playing Minnesota. They lost the first game on a fluke, and then they're like pissed off. So let's play it for 1 unit. I want to have some action. And you've got Winnebago and you've got Luca Brasi, but they're not Americans, so it's hard to get behind them. You don't really have a good American player. We're not getting behind Richie Cunningham. He's nothing. So the last basketball player was probably Kobe and Shaq. So you went Bird and Magic, Isaiah, Jordan, Carl Barkley and Karl Malone and Elijah One. You had a big class in the 80s. And then you had Shaq and Kobe, and Shaq wasn't anything special. Kobe was a star. And then you've got nobody now. Because they're all nobody cares about Jokic or Luca Brasi or Winnebago. Maybe they speak in. They're not entertaining. They don't drive the basket and make great passes like those guys did. Kobe made these great shots, and but these guys just take 3-point shots. Winnebago, okay, he blocks shots, but I'm not watching to see now Winnebago's not on TV much, although he'll be on tonight. Maybe I'll watch 5 minutes of the game, but it'll be so boring with all these 3-point shots. There's no excitement, and that is the end. That kills the demand. The game's gone. So baseball's on its way out. Basketball's on its way out. The only reason football is good is we can bet on Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and we can bet over on the Lions. So that's really why we watch it, is the betting, which is why we've always watched football. But they're killing it with these stupid kickoffs and these extra points from a mile away, and all these penalties, and they're ruining the game. It's, I guess, the concussions. So that was a big liability. So it's really about, well, how do we keep concussions out of the game? You can't. You just have them. I mean, people butting heads all the time, running and tackling and everything. They're too much on the quarterback. So it's just stupid. But baseball is terribly boring. The rule changes are terrible, and all these bullpen pitchers are horrible. So again, we'll remind you again, the games today. Our 2 unit, the only one on a streak is KC betting against Detroit. Boston under 8, 2 units. California minus 105 with this new Cy Young winner, Soriano, 3 units. Houston over 9, 2 units. Washington, or the White Sox, I think I have them. I think they're a 4-unit play. I think. The Yankees over 8 for 2 units. Pittsburgh over 8 for 4 units. LA under 9 for 2. St. Louis over 8 for 2. I don't know. What is that? I think the White Sox are 1 unit. They're 1 or 2. They're not. I don't think they're 4. The 4-unit bets, Pittsburgh over 8. The 3-unit bets, California with their ace. And I'm only going 2 on KC against the Tigers, who are on a 5-game losing streak. So that's the only streak. Everybody's switching streaks right now. The pitching's terrible. The hitting's terrible. Although Pitt has like 4 or 5 good hitters now. A few teams have that, and I'll start marking them now as we're getting enough at bats to really see who's good and who's bad. And that's it. So those are your bets for today. Poker, again, if you're playing, be leery of the all-in. It's to get you to fold. And it's either, now if you do it on the flop, it isn't a bluff. It's, I got aces and I don't want you to catch your straight or flush. If I do it on the last card, it is a bluff probably 99% of the time because I want you to fold. But if I have a big hand, I don't want you to fold. I want you to call. So I'm going to bet enough to get a call. So why would I go all in? I would never get a call. Now, unless you've got 4 kings or a ace, aces full house, you're not calling me. So I don't want to take the chance. Maybe you got aces full. I can't go all in. I'm going to make a bet that you call me. And I'm only going to get called if I'm beat. So be careful with that. Anyway, gold and silver, about 6:15, 6:30. We'll see. The last couple of weeks, it's been going down in the beginning and then popping back up a little bit about an hour later. So we'll see if we can get a big rally in the beginning. It'd be nice. I'll watch this Jamie Dimon thing, but it's just bullshit. All it is the U.S. telling the banks to short it. The banks are all apparently long or hoping it goes up in the future, but right now they're shorting it to keep the price down, to keep you in Bitcoin, to keep you in the stock market, keep your money in the bank, to keep you out of gold because they can't control you. If you're in gold, they can't control you, right? I got gold. Nobody knows. I don't pay taxes on it. I don't do anything with it. It just grows, and it'll help diverge the dollar going down. I'll have gold, sell an ounce of gold for whatever money, and I'm eating and drinking and everything else. So keep that in mind. All right, no chats. It's okay. www.teaserking.com. And I finally have some guy coming to do my IKEA. I call up one guy. I go on and Angie's List, and the first guy, well, I'm a professional, and I charge $150 to do it. You'll never find anybody cheaper. It's a 15-minute job. I'm not paying you $150 for 15 minutes. It's already there. All you got to do is probably screw in a few things, and boom, boom, and it's all done. So I get it. So I called a few people. So somebody calls me yesterday, and they want. I tell them it's a $60 thing, and they want $50 at IKEA, and it's ridiculous. It's only a $60 thing. And he says, "Do you already have it?" I says, "Yes." So he will do it for $20. He will come out Tuesday morning, $20, take him 15, 20 minutes. I already have it. I'll take it out of the box, do your stuff, and for $20, I'll have it. This doesn't make sense. It's a $60 thing to pay $50. Like I said, if it was a $500 thing, then I could see having a professional and paying the guy $100 to put it together. But that's not what I got. It's cute. I'm not wasting a lot of money on a TV stand from IKEA. I did try to go to Meijer. They don't have TV stands. And apparently I want to get pictures like this picture back here. This one you see here. This is a Van Gogh, and but it's a poster. So I got a few more are in my phone. I'm just going to print them out and put them on a few more frames. So they don't have that anymore at Meijer's, and just at CVS. So I'll go there and get a little bit. Otherwise, that's about it. Happy Mother's Day. It's so silly. Like, I'm supposed to buy her a gift because it's Mother's Day. And it's all business bullshit. I mean, you respect your friends and your family every day. You don't need us. Oh, it's Monday. I gotta show her I love her. Otherwise, she won't like me. I mean, if that's what it takes, it's pretty pathetic, right? All right. Have a good one. www.teaserking.com. And enjoy your day, enjoy your Mother's Day, and enjoy your Sunday. All right. Let's try to get gold and silver where it should be at about 10,000 and 1,000 silver. We know it's going there. It's not a guess. It's just being kind of pushed down by COMEX and this war where they're buying dollars to buy oil and all this bullshit. So I don't know. Trump's lost his mind, that's for sure. All right. Have a good day, everybody.